right this moment, you hold something more valuable than all the gold in Fort Knox, more powerful than any supercomputer ever built, more influential than any world leader. It's your mind, the most extraordinary force in the known universe. I stood in my garden one morning in 1990, watching my grandchild playing with a simple magnifying glass, focusing sunlight onto a leaf. That small piece of curved glass could channel enough energy to start a fire. It struck me then our minds work exactly the same way. Just as that magnifying glass could focus scattered sunlight into a powerful beam, your mind can transform scattered thoughts into unstoppable power. Look at what you've already done with this incredible tool. You learned to walk, though you fell hundreds of times. You mastered language, though you started with just crying. You've figured out complex technologies, relationships, and skills. Your mind did all that, and it's just warming up. Every invention around you, the lights above, the chair you're sitting on, the clothes you're wearing, started as a thought in someone's mind. Nothing in our human-made world existed until someone thought it into being. That's the raw power sitting between your ears right now. Your mind doesn't care if you're young or old, rich or poor, educated or not. It works with perfect precision, turning your dominant thoughts into reality. It's been doing this your whole life, whether you realized it or not. Now imagine what you could do if you learned to use this power on purpose. Your thoughts aren't just abstract ideas floating in your head. They create physical changes in your body and the world around you. Scientists at Stanford University proved this when they asked people to think about moving their fingers. The same brain areas lit up as when they actually moved their fingers. Your brain can't tell the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined. That for a moment. Every time you imagine something clearly, your brain treats it as real. When you think about success, your brain releases the same chemicals as when you actually succeed. When you think about failure, your body produces the same stress hormones as real failure. This isn't philosophy, it's pure biology. I met Sarah Thompson in Dallas last year. She worked as a waitress for 15 years, barely making ends meet. One day she read about neuroplasticity, how thoughts physically reshape your brain. She decided to test this idea. Every morning, she spent 20 minutes thinking about running her own restaurant. Not daydreaming, but detailed planning. She imagined the menu, the decor, the customer service. Within 6 months, she'd written a business plan. Within a year, she'd saved enough for a down payment on a small cafe. Today, she owns 3 successful restaurants. The fascinating part? When I asked her what changed, she said, "My circumstances didn't change first. My thoughts did. Everything else followed." In Phoenix, I interviewed Dr. Michael Chen, a heart surgeon who uses thought power with his patients. Before surgery, he teaches them visualization techniques. Patients who practice these techniques need less anesthesia, recover faster, and leave the hospital sooner than those who don't. Their thoughts literally speed up physical healing. A group of basketball players in Chicago participated in an experiment. Half practiced free throws physically. The other half only visualized practicing. After 3 weeks, the physical practice group improved by 24%. The visualization group? They improved by 23%. Your mind can't tell the difference between physical and mental practice. Barbara Mitchell, a real estate agent in Seattle, changed her entire business through thought power. She was struggling to make sales in a tough market. Instead of focusing on the market problems, she started visualizing successful sales meetings. She imagined happy clients, smooth transactions, and growing commissions. She didn't just think about it once, she practiced this mental imagery 4 times daily. In 3 months, her sales doubled. In 6 months, she was the top agent in her firm. The market hadn't changed, her thoughts had. This changed how she talked to clients, how she showed properties, how she handled negotiations. Her new thoughts created new actions, which created new results. A construction worker named James Rodriguez used thought power to overcome a lifetime fear of public speaking. Instead of avoiding speaking opportunities, he spent 15 minutes each morning visualizing himself giving confident presentations. He felt the confidence, heard the applause, saw the nodding heads. 6 months later, he was teaching safety seminars to hundreds of workers. The science behind this is clear. When you hold a thought, your brain releases neurotransmitters. These chemicals affect every cell in your body. Positive thoughts release different chemicals than negative ones. That's why you feel strong when you think strong thoughts, and weak when you think weak thoughts. Consider Mike Foster, an athlete who broke his back in a car accident. Doctors said he'd never walk again. Mike started small. He visualized moving his toes. Hour after hour, day after day, he thought about moving those toes. After 3 months, his toes moved. The doctors called it impossible. But Mike's thoughts had literally rewired his neural pathways. Your thoughts shape your biology, and your biology shapes your actions. Your actions create your results. It's a chain reaction that starts with what you choose to think about. The most successful people understand this. They don't just let thoughts happen, they choose them carefully, like a gardener selecting seeds. When Thomas Edison worked on the light bulb, he didn't focus on the thousands of failures. He famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That thought pattern kept him going until he succeeded. His mind turned obstacles into stepping stones. Your mind needs protection just like a castle needs walls. Every day, thousands of thoughts try to break through your mental walls: negative news, others' opinions, self-doubts, past failures. Building your mental fortress isn't just about keeping negativity out, it's about strengthening what's inside. I met a factory worker in Detroit who changed his entire life by building his mental fortress. Every morning, he parked his car 10 minutes early before his shift. In those 10 minutes, he built his mental walls for the day. He decided what thoughts he would allow in and what thoughts he would keep out. His coworkers called him crazy until they noticed something. He got promoted 3 times in 2 years while they stayed stuck. Start with your morning routine. The first hour of your day builds the foundation of your mental fortress. Most people wake up and immediately check their phones. That's like opening all the doors and windows of your fortress before checking if there's an army outside. Instead, take control of that first hour. Here's a practical exercise. Wake up 30 minutes earlier than usual. Spend the first 10 minutes in complete silence. Don't turn on the TV, don't check your phone, don't talk to anyone. Just sit quietly and watch your thoughts. You'll notice something interesting. Your mind tries to rush to problems, worries, and fears. This is normal. Your job is to redirect those thoughts to what you want to accomplish that day. Next, take 5 minutes to write down your goals. Not just read them, write them. The physical act of writing programs these goals deeper into your mind. One business owner I know in Houston credits this simple practice for taking his company from bankruptcy to millions in profit. He said, "When I write my goals each morning, I'm building the blueprint for my mental fortress." Now comes the mental exercise program. Just like your body needs different exercises for different muscles, your mind needs various exercises for different mental strengths. Start with the gratitude push-up. List 3 things you're grateful for, but here's the key: they must be different every day. This forces your mind to stay alert and look for the good in your life. Follow this with the possibility pull-up. Take one problem you're facing and list 3 possible good outcomes. Your mind usually jumps to the worst possibilities. Train it to see the best ones too. A real estate agent in Miami used this technique during the housing crisis. While others panicked, she found opportunities nobody else saw. The next exercise is the mental weightlifting. Take your biggest fear for the day and imagine the absolute worst thing that could happen. Now, create a specific plan to handle that worst-case scenario. This builds mental strength, because once you know you can handle the worst, everything else feels lighter. Here's where most people go wrong. They try these exercises once or twice and quit. Your mental fortress needs daily maintenance. A CEO I know in Atlanta spends 15 minutes every evening reinforcing his mental walls. He reviews what thoughts he allowed in that day and which ones he needs to guard against tomorrow. But what about negative influences? They're like siege weapons attacking your mental fortress. The average person encounters dozens of negative influences before lunch: negative news, complaining coworkers, traffic jams, rude customers. Your mental fortress needs specific defenses against each one. Create a mental moat. Before entering any situation, decide what you will allow to affect you. A sales manager I know imagines wearing a special jacket. When someone complains or criticizes, the words hit the jacket, not him. Sounds simple, but this technique helped him maintain his motivation while managing a team of 30 salespeople during a recession. Build guard towers in your fortress. These are your personal rules about what information you'll allow in. No negative news before noon. No complaining for more than 5 minutes. No spending time with energy-draining people unless absolutely necessary. A banker in Seattle used these rules to stay positive while her entire industry was crashing in 2008. Your mental fortress needs an early warning system. Pay attention to your energy levels after talking to certain people or consuming certain information. If you feel drained, that's your warning system telling you there's an attack on your fortress. One entrepreneur I know keeps an energy journal. He notes what energizes him and what drains him, then adjusts his mental defenses accordingly. Remember, your mental fortress isn't about isolation, it's about selective exposure. Think of it like a water filtration system. You don't want to block all water, you just want to filter out the harmful elements. Your mental filters should do the same with information and influences. Install mental drawbridges. These are temporary boundaries you can raise when needed. Having a tough day? Raise the drawbridge. Need to focus on an important project? Drawbridge up. A teacher I know uses this technique during school hours. She literally imagines raising a drawbridge when she enters her classroom, leaving outside troubles outside. The strongest part of your mental fortress must be the foundation, your core beliefs about yourself. These aren't just positive affirmations, they're statements of truth you've proven to yourself. Build these through small wins. Every time you follow through on a commitment to yourself, you're adding another stone to your foundation. Your mental fortress is your safe haven in a world of chaos. Build it strong, guard it well, but remember, the purpose of a fortress isn't just protection. It's to give you a secure base from which to achieve great things. From behind these walls, you can plan, create, and achieve without the constant bombardment of negativity that stops most people. Your mind works exactly like a supercomputer. It runs whatever program you install. Most people let others program their minds with doubt, fear, and limitations. Today, you'll learn to become your own master programmer. In 1992, I met a carpenter named Tom Bradley. He never finished high school, but he understood mind programming better than most professors. Every morning, he sat at his kitchen table with a notepad. On that pad, he wrote his goals as if they'd already happened. I run a successful construction company. I build beautiful homes. I provide jobs for 50 people. His friends laughed at him writing these fairy tales. 5 years later, Tom owned the largest construction company in his state. The same friends asked him for jobs. What changed? Tom programmed his mind with crystal clear instructions instead of letting life randomly program it for him. Here's your first programming exercise. Take a blank piece of paper. At the top, write tomorrow's date. Below that, write a letter to yourself describing what you accomplished that day, but write it as if it already happened. Be specific. Don't write, I had a good day. Write, I closed the Johnson deal, signed 2 new clients, and finished the quarterly report. Your mind can't process vague instructions. A bank teller in Boston used this technique to program her path to becoming a branch manager. Each morning, she wrote about managing her team, solving complex problems, and growing the branch's business. Within 8 months, she got promoted, not because of magic, but because her mind guided her actions to match her programming. Visualization isn't daydreaming, it's mental rehearsal. Olympic athletes use this technique because it works. When you visualize, use all your senses. If you're programming your mind for public speaking success, feel the confidence in your chest. Hear your strong voice. See the audience nodding in agreement. Make it real in your mind first. A nervous surgeon I know programs his mind before every operation. He visualizes each cut, each stitch, each movement. He runs through potential complications and their solutions. His success rate is among the highest in his hospital. He says, "The operation succeeds in my mind before I ever enter the operating room." Your memory isn't fixed, it's programmable. Most people think they have a bad memory, but they've just installed a bad program. Here's a technique I learned from a successful executive. When you meet someone new, create a vivid, even silly image connecting their name to something memorable. She met a Mr. Bridge and imagined him standing on a bridge wearing a crown. A year later, she remembered his name instantly. A salesman in Kansas City programmed his mind to remember customer details. For each client, he created a mental file folder. In that folder, he stored everything: their kids' names, their hobbies, their business challenges. His sales tripled in 1 year. Why? Because his customers felt truly remembered and understood. Program your mind with deadlines. Vague goals produce vague results. A real estate agent I know programs her mind every Sunday night for the week ahead. She doesn't just set goals, she sets specific deadlines for each one. Tuesday, 2 p.m., property listing signed for the Oak Street house. Wednesday, 10 a.m., virtual tour completed for the Lakeview property. Your mind needs clear signals about what's important. Most people fill their minds with thousands of random thoughts and wonder why they can't focus. Start your day by programming your top 3 priorities. A CEO I know writes his top 3 on a small card he carries in his pocket. When distractions come, and they always do, he checks that card and reprograms his focus. Install a success subroutine in your mental computer. This is a short phrase or image that instantly puts you in a peak state. A professional speaker I know uses Showtime. Before every presentation, she says this word to herself, and her mind instantly runs her confidence program. Another executive I know straightens his tie. That simple action triggers his leadership program. Program your mind to find solutions, not problems. Most minds are programmed to spot what's wrong. That was useful when we had to watch for tigers in the jungle, but it's not helpful in today's world. A business owner in Seattle reprogrammed her mind with a simple question. Whenever she faced a challenge, she asked, "What's good about this problem?" Her mind, following its programming, always found answers. Your mind also needs recovery time to process its programming. Think of it like updating your computer software. It needs quiet time to install the updates. Take 10 minutes of quiet time after each programming session. Don't check your phone, don't talk to anyone, just let your mind integrate the new programming. Remember, your mind will run whatever program you give it most frequently. If you worry constantly about failure, you've programmed your mind to look for ways to fail. If you consistently focus on success, you program your mind to find paths to success. The choice of programming is yours. What you put into your mind is just as important as what you put into your body. Most people watch their food intake carefully, but let their minds feast on mental junk food all day long. Think about that. You wouldn't drink poison, but you might spend hours consuming negative news and toxic conversations. I met a factory supervisor in Michigan who turned his plant's productivity around with one simple rule: no negative news or conversations until after lunch. At first, his workers thought he was crazy. But within 3 months, workplace accidents dropped by 50% and productivity shot up by 37%. The same workers doing the same jobs produced totally different results because they changed their mental diet. Your mental environment includes everything that enters your mind through your 5 senses. The music you listen to, the shows you watch, the people you talk to, the books you read, they're all feeding your mind something. A successful attorney I know treats her morning drive like a university on wheels. While others listen to talk radio complaining about traffic, she listens to educational content. She says she earned a complete business education during her commutes. Here's a practical exercise. For the next 24 hours, keep a mental diet log. Write down everything you feed your mind. Every conversation, every social media scroll, every TV show, every piece of news. Most people are shocked when they see their mental diet on paper. A business owner in San Diego did this exercise and realized he spent 3 hours daily consuming information that made him feel powerless and afraid. Your mental environment needs good nutrition. Start your day with 20 minutes of positive input. Read something uplifting. Listen to something motivational. Write in a gratitude journal. A sales manager I know changed her team's performance by starting each morning meeting with team members, sharing their wins from the previous day. The atmosphere in the office completely transformed. Pay attention to the people in your mental environment. You become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. A young entrepreneur in Atlanta made a list of the 5 people he spent the most time with. He realized none of them had achieved what he wanted to achieve. He didn't cut them off, he just started spending more time with successful business owners. Within a year, his business revenue doubled. Create mental nutrition zones in your day. These are times when you consciously feed your mind high-quality information. A teacher I know uses her lunch break as a mental nutrition zone. She spends 20 minutes reading books about advanced teaching methods while eating. She says this one habit has done more for her career than any formal training. Your mental environment needs regular cleaning, just like your home. Once a week, look at what's cluttering your mental space. Unfollow social media accounts that drain your energy. Stop watching shows that increase your stress. Cancel subscriptions to news services that focus on problems without solutions. A corporate executive I know does this every Sunday evening. She calls it her mental house cleaning. Guard your mind against mental pollution. Just as you wouldn't leave your front door wide open during a dust storm, don't leave your mind open to every piece of information floating around. A doctor I know starts his day by asking, "What information do I need today to serve my patients better?" Everything else is mental pollution. Create a success environment in your physical space. Your physical surroundings program your mind constantly. A real estate agent I know redecorated her office with photos of the kinds of properties she wanted to sell. Within 6 months, she started attracting clients who owned exactly those types of properties. Your environment shapes your expectations. Your phone is part of your mental environment. Most people check their phones 150 times per day. That's 150 opportunities to program or pollute your mind. A successful investor I know turns off all notifications except from his family and key clients. He says this one change helped him make better investment decisions because his mind wasn't constantly interrupted. Remember, your mental environment isn't just about avoiding negatives, it's about actively choosing positives. Think of your mind like a garden. It's not enough to pull weeds. You must also plant flowers. An hour of inspiration is more powerful than a day of desperation. Feed your mind success stories, solutions, and strategies instead of problems, complaints, and fears. Thoughts without action are like a car without gas. They might look good, but they won't take you anywhere. The achievement cycle turns your mental power into real-world results. It's a simple process. Think, act, analyze, adjust, and repeat. Each cycle builds on the last one, creating unstoppable momentum. Let me tell you about Frank Martinez, a janitor I met in California. He understood the achievement cycle better than most business school graduates. Every night while cleaning offices, he studied the businesses he cleaned for. He thought about what made them successful. But he didn't stop at thinking, he acted. He started small, offering to clean one client's home, then another. Within 3 years, he owned a cleaning company with 50 employees. The achievement cycle starts with a single step. Most people wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect opportunity. That waiting is mental quicksand. It pulls you deeper into inaction. A young woman in Portland wanted to start a bakery but kept waiting for the perfect time. Finally, she started baking from her home kitchen for just 3 customers. Today, she owns 2 successful bakeries. She says, "The perfect time was when I stopped waiting for it." Here's how to start your own achievement cycle today. Pick one goal, just one. Write it down. Now, write down one action you can take in the next hour toward that goal. Not tomorrow, not next week, in the next hour. A software developer I know wanted to create his own company. His first action? Spending 1 hour designing a logo. Seems small, but that single action started his achievement cycle. 2 years later, his company employs 20 people. Momentum builds through consistent small actions. Think of pushing a heavy boulder. The hardest part is the first push. Each push after that becomes easier as the boulder gains momentum. A real estate investor I know started by looking at just one property per week. She didn't buy anything for 3 months, but she learned something from each viewing. When the right property came along, she knew exactly what to do. Now she owns 30 rental units. The achievement cycle feeds on itself. Each small success provides energy for the next action. A salesman in Texas started making just 2 extra calls each day. Those extra calls led to 1 extra sale per week. The extra confidence from those sales led to bigger deals. Within a year, he doubled his income. He didn't change his skills, he just started a positive achievement cycle. Most people stop their achievement cycle too soon. They take action, face a setback, and quit. That's like planting a seed, seeing no plant after 2 days and digging it up. A restaurant owner I know faced 6 months of losses when she started. Instead of quitting, she analyzed why customers weren't returning. She adjusted her menu, improved her service, and kept pushing. Today, she has a 3-month waiting list for reservations. Your achievement cycle needs constant fuel. That fuel comes from tracking your progress. Buy a small notebook. At the end of each day, write down one action you took toward your goal. No action is too small to count. An architect I know kept such a notebook. His first entry: drew a simple house design for 10 minutes. That notebook now contains the story of how he built his own architectural firm. Build success multiplication into your achievement cycle. Every time you succeed at something, ask yourself, how can I use this success to create 2 more? A fitness trainer started with 1 client. She asked that client for 2 referrals. Those new clients each provided 2 more referrals. Within a year, she had more clients than she could handle. Success multiplication in action. Never break the achievement cycle chain. Every day, take at least one action toward your goal. A writer I know set a simple rule: write 50 words every day. Some days she wrote thousands, but she never went below 50. She's now published 4 books. The size of the action doesn't matter. Maintaining the cycle does. Your achievement cycle creates evidence that your mind uses to build confidence. Each small success proves that bigger success is possible. An accountant started his own firm by doing one free tax return for a friend. That led to a referral, which led to his first paying client. Each success became evidence that he could succeed on his own. Now he has his own thriving practice. Remember, the achievement cycle isn't about speed, it's about consistency. A slow cycle that keeps moving beats a fast cycle that stops. A business owner I know set a goal to contact one potential client every day. Not 10, not 20, just one. He stayed consistent with this small goal. After 2 years, his business grew by 300%. The achievement cycle rewards consistency over intensity. Now let's turn these powerful concepts into your daily routine. Your day's success starts the night before. A banker I know prepares his mind each evening like a farmer preparing his fields for the next day's planting. He takes 15 minutes to plan tomorrow's 3 most important tasks. This simple routine doubled his productivity in 3 months. Your morning mental routine sets the tone for your entire day. Start with the 20-minute power routine. First 5 minutes. Complete silence. Just breathe and watch your thoughts. Don't judge them, don't fight them, just observe. A surgeon I know says this 5 minutes of mental clarity saves him hours of stress later. Next 10 minutes, read your goals aloud and visualize them as already achieved. Feel the satisfaction, see the details, hear the congratulations. A sales representative used this technique every morning in her car before entering the office. She became top seller in her company within 6 months. Final 5 minutes. Positive input only. Read something inspiring, listen to motivation audio, or write in your gratitude journal. A teacher starts each morning reading one page from a book about great educators. She says this ritual reminds her why she chose teaching and energizes her for the day ahead. Throughout your day, use mental recharge stations. These are 2-minute breaks every 2 hours where you step back, breathe deeply, and reset your mental energy. A corporate executive I know sets his phone alarm to remind him. During these breaks, he stands up, walks to the window, and mentally reviews his progress toward daily goals. Your evening review process is crucial for mental growth. Take 10 minutes before bed to ask 3 questions. What did I accomplish today? What did I learn? What will I do better tomorrow? A business owner in Miami credits this evening routine for helping her make better decisions. She says reviewing her day's lessons helps her avoid repeating mistakes. Create mental recharge rituals that work for you. Some people use exercise. A quick walk around the block can reset your mental energy. Others use music. 2 minutes of your favorite uplifting song can change your mental state instantly. A stock trader I know steps away from his computer every 2 hours to water the plants in his office. He says these small breaks prevent mental fatigue and help him make clearer trading decisions. Remember, these aren't just good ideas. They're tools for mental strength. Use them daily. A lawyer I know posted his daily mental routine on his bathroom mirror. He follows it every day without fail. His colleagues ask how he stays so focused and energetic. The answer is simple. He treats his mental routine as seriously as any other appointment in his day. Take out your notebook right now. Not tomorrow, not later, right now. Write down 3 things you'll do in the next 24 hours to start using your mental power. Keep it simple. Maybe it's spending 10 minutes in morning silence. Maybe it's reading one page of an inspiring book. Maybe it's writing down your biggest goal. The size of the action doesn't matter. Taking it does. Your future is created in your mind first. A year from now, you'll be the product of the mental habits you start today. 5 years from now, you'll become what you're thinking about right now. A decade from now, you'll look back at this moment as either the time you took control of your mental power or the time you let another opportunity slip away. I'm reminded of a young man I met in Chicago. He sat in an audience just like you. He took action that very day, started his morning routine, protected his mental environment, began his achievement cycle. 6 months later, he wrote to tell me he'd started his own business. A year later, he'd opened his second location, all because he didn't wait to take action. Your mind is ready. It's been ready your whole life. It's the most powerful tool you'll ever own. You don't need another book, another seminar, another piece of advice. You need action. Start small, but start now. Your mind will take care of the rest. Remember, every great achievement in human history started with a single thought in someone's mind. Your next great achievement is waiting for you to think it into being. The power is yours. The time is now. Go use your strongest weapon, your magnificent mind.